Agrees in these pursuits in terms of how desperate the driver is. And this driver looks very, very desperate. We wonder on a Friday night going into a holiday weekend how much traffic they're going to run into. But the fact that they're just moving this quickly through lanes, you worry about the other drivers that are on the road at this moment, too. It doesn't look like you've got the lights and sirens right behind this driver. Maybe because this is so dangerous at this point. But the danger for the drivers on the road without the lights right behind them is they maybe don't know that this guy is coming and flying past them at plus 80 miles an hour. And you look at the differential between this guy, Christine, and the other drivers on the road.
Yeah, it's a frightening one to watch here on a Friday, as you said, Easter weekend here. So some people maybe already got off the road and avoid some of the rain coming in. But the speeds here are so very dangerous as this driver whizzes past these vehicles. Now, I'm guessing it started on surface streets because it started with out of Compton, and now we're here on the freeway. I would think that CHP would take this over on the freeways here. This driver has stayed on the freeway ever since we picked up this pursuit. But you worry about every motorist out there that is having this car come upon them at this speed.
I mean, this looks like a video game or sort of Fast and Furious kind of movie, the way that this person is just flying and going from the left hand to the right hand, going all of the lanes. Thankfully, there has not been a collision so far, but moving this fast and going lane to lane without using a blinker, without any warning behind, you just worry that some of these drivers are going to be blindsided, literally, by this driver moving into their spot as he continues to move from lane to lane. So we are on the 710 South right now, back in the area. Remember that this started in Compton. We don't know if this driver may be familiar with that area or may be trying to go back to a neighborhood or a home that they're familiar with. Sometimes in these situations, they go back to their home or they go back to their mom's home or a friend's home to try to ditch their car and maybe drive in circles in that way. Or maybe he's just looking for anywhere to go. But we are now moving quickly, and it looks like Skyfox may have a hard time keeping up with this person as well. So they may have temporarily lost this driver. It's especially challenging to find him or her because we don't have those, black and whites or the CHP or something right behind, which makes it harder to find. You would assume at this point that there would be a sheriff's helicopter overhead trying to keep track of all of this. But we will see. We don't see that at least in the foreground, but one would assume that there is something like that overhead.
And noticing also there are other freeways in this area. The driver would be coming up on the 91 freeway, has been staying on the 710 the entire time we've been following this pursuit. If the department on this and they have perhaps backed off, that would be then probably a CHP call as to whether to stay on it. They tend to stay on these pursuits. But this one, like you said, so very dangerous. That driver putting him or herself, their lives at risk as well, going at those crazy speeds during this kind of fairly heavy traffic flow here.
So the challenge for our Skyfox pilot at this point, you see all of those freeways that all intersect in one place, and also the off-ramps to potentially go onto side streets. So, we believe that CHP is getting in help with all of this. Hopefully our pilot is able to get their bearings, figure out where this person is at this point. So if you're just joining us, we are following a pursuit. All we know is that the suspect is believed to be armed and dangerous, looks very desperate, at very fast speeds. So we're going to give our folks in the chopper a second to figure out what's going on and try to find this car. We're going to sneak in a little bit more news in the meantime, and when we get pursuit, we will quickly go back to it on the air. In the meantime, this looked like a demolition derby in one Anaheim neighborhood after a series of crashes linked to one driver. Look at a mess here. Anaheim PD say last night officers were called to Ramnea Drive, where a silver Cadillac SUV flipped over and slammed into multiple parked cars.